The Waltons is an American television series created by Earl Hamner, Jr., based on his book Spencer's Mountain, and a 1963 film of the same name. The show is centered on a family in a rural Virginia community during the Great Depression and World War II. The series pilot aired as a television movie entitled The Homecoming: A Christmas Story and was broadcast on December 19, 1971. Beginning in September 1972, the series originally aired on CBS for a total of 9 seasons. After the series was cancelled by CBS in 1981, NBC aired 3 television movie sequels in 1982, with 3 more in the 1990s on CBS. The Waltons was produced by Lorimer Productions and distributed by Warner Brothers. Domestic television distribution in syndication. Premise. Setting: the main story takes place in Waltons Mountain, a fictional town at the foot of a mountain in fictitious Jefferson County, Virginia. The actual place upon which the stories are based is in Nelson County, Virginia, and is the community of Schuyler. The time period is from 1933 to 1946, during the Great Depression and World War II, during the presidential administrations of Franklin D. Roosevelt and Harry S. Truman. The year 1933 is suggested by a reference to the opening of the Century of Progress exposition in Chicago, a brief shot of an automobile registration, and it is divulged in episode 18 that the date is in the spring of 1933. The last episode of Season 1, An Easter Story, is set in February-April 1934. The year 1934 takes 2 seasons to cover, while some successive years are covered over the course of a few months. The series finale, The Revel, revolves around a party and the invitation date is given as June 4, 1946. A span of 13 years is therefore covered in 9 seasons. There are some chronological errors, which ostensibly do not hinder the storyline. A Thanksgiving reunion show, A Walton Thanksgiving Reunion, filmed in 1993, takes place in 1963, and revolves around President John F. Kennedy's assassination. A Walton Wedding, made in 1995, is set in 1964, and the latest reunion show, A Walton Easter, filmed in 1997, is set in 1969. The series began relating stories that occurred 38 years in the past, and ended with its last reunion show set 28 years in the past. The story is about the family of John Walton, Jr., his parents, John and Olivia Walton, their 7 children, and John's parents, Zebulon, Zeb, and Esther Walton. John Boy is the oldest of the children, who becomes a journalist and novelist. Each episode is narrated at the opening and closing by a middle-aged John Jr. John Sr. manages to eke out a living for his family by operating a lumber mill with his sons' help as they grow older. The family income is augmented by some small-scale farming, and John occasionally hunts to put meat on the table. The family shares hospitality with relatives and strangers as they are able. The small community named after the property is also home to folk of various income levels, ranging from the well-to-do Baldwin sisters, 2 elderly spinsters who distill moonshine that they call Papa's Recipe, Ike Gossi, postmaster and owner of the general store, with his somewhat snobbish wife Cora Beth, an African-American couple, Verdier and Harley Foster, Maud, a sassy octogenarian artist who paints on wood, Flossie Brimmer, a friendly though somewhat gossipy widow who runs a nearby boarding house, and Yancey Tucker, a good-hearted handyman with big plans but little motivation. Jefferson County Sheriff E.P. Bridges keeps law and order in Waltons Mountain. The entire family attends the Baptist church, of which Olivia and Grandma Esther are the most regular attendees. The church that the Hamners actually attended was Schuyler Baptist Church, near the Hamner home place, and is still in operation. The church has helped host several events honoring Earl Hamner, Jr., including one in 2014. In the signature scene that closes almost every episode, the family house is enveloped in darkness, save for 1, 2 or 3 lights in the upstairs bedroom windows. Through voiceovers, 2 or more characters make some brief comments related to that episode's events, and then bid each other good night, after which the lights go out. After completing high school, John Boy attends fictional Bowtrite University in the fictional nearby town of Westham. He later goes to New York City to work as a journalist. During the latter half of the 1976-77 season, Grandma Esther Walton suffers a stroke and returns home shortly before the death of her husband, Grandpa Zeb Walton. During the series' last few years, Mary Ellen and Ben start their own families. Erin, Jason and John Boy are married in later television movie sequels. World War II deeply affects the family. All 4 Walton boys enlist in the military. Mary Ellen's physician husband, Kurt Willard, is sent to Pearl Harbor and is reported to have perished in the Japanese attack on December 7, 1941. Years later, Mary Ellen hears of sightings of her late husband, investigates and finds him alive, but brooding over his war wounds and living under an assumed name. She divorces him and later remarries. John Boy's military plane is shot down, while Olivia becomes a volunteer at the VA hospital and is seen less and less. She eventually develops tuberculosis and enters an Arizona sanitarium. Olivia's cousin, Rose Burton, moves into the Walton house to look after the brood. 2 years later, John Sr. moves to Arizona to be near Olivia. Grandma appears in only a handful of episodes during the 8th season. 6 feature-length movies were made after the series' run, set from 1947 through 1969. They aired between 1982 and 1997. Production. Pilot movie The Homecoming. A Christmas Story was not originally intended to be a pilot for a series, but it became one because it was so popular. Except for the children and Grandma Walton, the actors for the movie were not the same as for the series. The musical score was by Oscar-winning composer Jerry Goldsmith. Patricia Neal won a Golden Globe Award for Best Actress, Television Series Drama. The movie was also nominated for 3 Emmys. Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Miniseries or a Movie, Outstanding Writing Achievement in Drama Adaptation, and Outstanding Directorial Achievement in Drama, a single program. Characters. The following is a brief summary of the main characters. See main article for a more complete list. John Boy Walton Jr., the eldest of the 7 children. John Walton Sr., the family patriarch. Olivia Walton, the matriarch. Zebulon, Grandpa Walton, John's father. Esther, Grandma Walton, John's mother. Jason Walton, second oldest brother, musically talented. Mary Ellen Walton, headstrong oldest daughter, becomes a nurse. Erin Walton, second Walton daughter, works as a telephone operator and as manufacturing supervisor. Benjamin Ben Walton, third Walton son, has an entrepreneurial spirit. James Robert Jim Bob Walton, youngest Walton son, mechanically inclined. Elizabeth Walton, youngest of the 7 children. Cindy Walton, seasons 7 to 9 and 4 of the reunion movies, Ben's wife. Rose Burton, Olivia's matronly cousin who fills in as matriarch during Olivia's absence. Inspiration. Earl Hamner's rural childhood, growing up in the unincorporated community of Schuyler, Virginia, provided the basis for the setting and many of the storylines of the Waltons. His family and the community provided many life experiences which aided in the characters, values, area, and human interest stories of his books, movies, and television series. Hamner provided the voice-over of the older John Boy, usually heard at the beginning and end of each episode. John Boy Walton's fictional alma mater, Bowtrite University, is patterned after Richmond College. which became part of the University of Richmond on Boatwright Drive near Westham Station in the West End of Richmond, Virginia, about 70 miles east of Schuyler. Filming the town of Waltons Mountain was built in the rear area of the Warner Brothers Studios, but the mountain itself was part of the range opposite Warner Studios in Burbank, California. The Waltons house facade was built in the back of the Warner Brothers lot. After the series concluded, the set was destroyed. For the reunion shows, a replica Waltons house facade was built on the Here Come the Brides set on the Columbia Ranch studio, now part of the Warner Brothers Studios. The Waltons house is still used as scenery at Warner Brothers. For example, it served as the Dragonfly Inn on the Gilmore Girls broadcast and release. Some sources indicate CBS put the show on its fall 1972 schedule in response to congressional hearings on the quality of television. Backlash from a 1971 decision to purge most rural-oriented shows from the network lineup may have also been a factor. The network gave the Waltons an undesirable time slot, Thursdays at 8 p.m., opposite two popular programs, The Flip Wilson Show on NBC and The Mod Squad on ABC. The rumor was that they put it against Flip Wilson and The Mod Squad because they didn't think it would survive. They thought, "We can just tell Congress America doesn't want to see this," Kami Kotler, who played Elizabeth Walton, said in a 2012 interview. Ralph Waite was reluctant to audition for the part of John Walton because he didn't want to be tied to a long-running TV series. But his agent persuaded him by saying, "It will never sell. You do the pilot. You pick up a couple of bucks and then you go back to New York." Reception. Nielsen ratings Season 1, number 20. Season 2, number 2. Season 3, number 8. Season 4, number 14. Season 5, number 15. Season 6, number 21. Season 7, not in the top 30. Season 8, not in the top 30. Season 9, number 30. Accolades. The Waltons won the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Drama Series in 1973. Also in 1973, Richard Thomas won the Emmy for Lead Actor in a Drama Series. Michael Learned won the Emmy for Lead Actress in a Drama Series 3 times. Ellen Corby was also a 3-time winner in the Supporting Actress category, winning in 1973, 1975, and 1976. Will Geer was awarded the Supporting Actor Emmy in 1975. Veteran actress Beulah Bondi won an Emmy in 1977 for Lead Actress in a Single Performance for her guest appearance as Martha Corinne Walton in the episode The Pony Cart. She first appeared in the Waltons episode The Conflict, as the widow of Zeb Walton's brother. The series also earned a Peabody Award for its first season. In 2013, TV Guide ranked the Waltons No. 34 on its list of the 60 best series of all time. Home media. DVD releases. Warner Home Video has released all 9 seasons and 6 TV movies of The Waltons on DVD in Region 1. Seasons 1 to 4 have been released in Region 2. The pilot movie, The Homecoming: A Christmas Story, was released by Paramount Home Entertainment. Lorimer produced the series. CBS produced the pilot film, which is why Paramount, under CBS Home Entertainment, handles home video rights for The Homecoming. German release DVDs provide German or English soundtrack options, with dubbed German voices, or the original English soundtrack. Although episode titles, in German, are not always either literal or precise translations of the original English-language titles, streaming seasons 1 to 9 are available via streaming through services such as Amazon Video. Syndication. Lorimer sold the distribution rights of The Waltons to Warner Brothers Television to avoid a lawsuit owing to the similarities between the series and the film Spencer's Mountain, which Warner's owned. Warner Brothers acquired Lorimer in 1989, and has continued to syndicate the series ever since. Reruns currently air in the US on INSP, the Hallmark Channel. In Canada, The Waltons airs on Vision TV and Book Television. True Entertainment airs the series in the UK. The series used to be broadcast in the UK on BBC One and BBC Two during the 1970s, 1980s.